Should I stay or go? Is it time to move on? This is big. Tenants are staying in the rental units longer, so settle in, and by the end of this video, you're going to learn about why that is. What is this shift in society? I'm going to break it down. Well, as we already know, vacancy and turnover costs are a drain on landlords. We also know that out there, rents are increasing at a torrid pace. Single-family rents are up 13.4%, and even that is down a little bit from where we were earlier this year. But now here's the thing. What actually happens when that rent is raised? Do tenants stay in that unit, or do they spurn that increase and decide to move out, creating that dreaded vacancy and turnover? Well, more single-family renters than ever are staying in place, or at least as long as John Burns Real Estate Consulting began tracking this measure. An astounding 77% of tenants renew their lease. Just watch the turnover decrease here over time in this chart. That's what you're looking at, the turnover rate. And what we're looking at is when a single family rental lease expires, the percentage of tenants that decide to non-renew and move out. And this is what has diminished in the past few years. So 23% move on, meaning that 77% renew. And again, that 77% is for single family rentals. We'll look at the interesting reasons for why this is happening in society in a moment. But first, notice that retention rates are lower in the apartment world. They're currently about 56%. Let's take a look at that here. And what you're looking at here are apartment retention rates for residents. So red is Class A, meaning that they're the better ones. And note that that rate is lower. All right, and it makes sense that that rate would be a little bit lower, because see, if you can afford a better apartment rental, well, then you're that much more likely to soon be able to move out and buy a home. Therefore, it would make sense that blue, Class B, which are mid-tier apartments, their resident retention rate is somewhat higher. And Class C in green, the lowest tier of apartment unit, well, that would have the highest resident retention. And as far as the direction, you can see here apartment retention has still generally trended up for the past few years for Class A and B apartments, and it is down for Class C apartments. And if you think about it, it makes sense that single-family tenants will stay longer than apartment tenants, 77% versus 56%, because you have a greater sense of privacy in a single-family home than you do in an apartment. Plus, single-family homes are typically larger, making it harder for people to move out. So yeah, that's breaking it down by unit type. But overall, retention in residential rentals has increased for years, both single-family homes and apartments. That's the overall message here. All right, well, now let's look at why. Why is this happening? Well, tenants are staying put longer for three main reasons. The first reason, the most obvious, is that home buying costs have soared, and that keeps people renting. Secondly, at lease renewal, rental rates increase. But see, rents on vacant units are increasing even faster, so therefore tenants renew. And you kind of know that yourself. As a landlord, you can get the bigger rent increases between tenancies than you can on that same tenant. And the third reason that tenants are staying put longer is due to this national paucity of housing supply. Oftentimes, there's just simply nowhere else to move. Now, previously, I've given you my best techniques for you getting the greatest rent increase on your tenants that you possibly can while ensuring that that tenant stays in place, all without manipulating anyone at all. And that video is right here. And so you really got a pretty substantial landlord motivation to increase the rent. It's a bigger motivation than you might realize, because consider that if you get a 10% rent increase, that can be a 20 to 25% cash flow increase if you're well leveraged, because your principal and interest payment stays fixed. So that's how much more money you feel in your pocket every month, 20 or 25% just off a 10% rent increase, again, depending on your leverage position. And if you don't understand what I just said right there, of course, you learned that this wealth magnifying effect is just one of 3 ways that real estate investors profit simultaneously from inflation. It is the 3rd crown of the inflation triple crown, named cash flow enhancement. In fact, there's a nice 3-video module for that, which you can see right here. Now, I want to tell you something important. As you and I know, emotions don't have a place in real estate investing. But if emotions are creeping in and you feel like somehow you don't deserve to raise the rent, I want you to give yourself some credit as a landlord. Realize that you are the one who sunk a down payment into the rental property in the first place. The tenant did not do that. You weathered uncertainty during the global health crisis. You took more market risk than your tenant because you've got more tied up in the property than they do. You established good credit for your loan in the first place. So grab the day by the turnkeys and benefit from this. If you're looking to add rental properties to your portfolio, you can find the best nationwide providers at our network at gremarketplace.com. We're just about to add a few more Memphis providers over there too. You can create one login and access all providers. It's truly free. There's no subscription cost at all. I'm Keith Weinhold. I'll see you at GRE Marketplace, or leave a comment about this video and I'll try to reply to you.